Guys, lovely to meet you. Would you first introduce who you are, please?
I'll go first then. I am Zoe Langley-Wathen, and I founded Head Right Out in 2019 because I love walking. I'm a podcaster, an author, and a supply teacher now. I used to teach full time, but I came out of teaching when I realised adventure had more to give me than teaching did. But I guess the teaching comes in now in other ways. I've kind of transferred it into other avenues. What about you, Mike?
My name is Mike Langley. This is my wife Zoe, who's a writer as well. I am an adventurer. I've done this most of my life, but I was a carpenter by trade, but as a work person. But I don't do that anymore. I'm an adventurer.
Very good. Now, you told us a little story earlier that said how you met, so I'd like you to tell us about that first of all.
Okay. Well, I used to run a pub, and when I left the pub, I thought, what am I going to do? And so I went to stay with my sister in Weymouth, and because her husband was in Afghanistan at the time. And after a couple of weeks, she told me to go, and I don't know why. So I thought, what can I do? So I looked in the book, and the longest path in England was the Southwest Coast path. So I decided to do that, and I walked that, and I met Zoe on the way.
And what happened for me was that I was turning 40. For the couple of years prior to that, I was looking for something to mark my rite of passage into middle age. And looked at Machu Picchu and climbing Kilimanjaro, and none of them really ticked the boxes for me. And then I stumbled across the Southwest Coast Path Handbook and knew that that was the path that I'd wanted to do for 15 years and had never had the courage to do it. It just happened. So anyway, I went on to do it, met this fabulous chap, and after, who's that then? Yeah. After 3 or 4 years of knowing one another, just as walking buddies, we got together. We've known each other for 15 years. We've been married for 10 years now, and we got married in a little chapel on the Southwest Coast Path, which is near where we met.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Right. First question. You started Head Right Out with a very simple idea: head outside and head out of your comfort zone. Where did the idea come from, and why does it still matter to you?
It's so important. For the first few years of walking, from 2011 probably through to about 2019, I was walking under something called Wath Walk, which was like part of my name, and the whole walking thing, and just raising money for charity. And everybody at school, the school I worked in, knew that whenever I went off on a Wath Walk challenge, it was a charity thing. And it took me a few years to realise that each time I did one of these adventures, it was helping to build my confidence and build my resilience. I don't know why it took me so long to really cotton on to that. When things started to shift, particularly when my father died, that was when I started rethinking things and thinking teaching isn't going to be for me for the long term now. I started thinking, how can I kind of move this into my life a bit more, this adventure, this walking thing, this building resilience. Head Right Out. It was going to be Head Out, and somebody had taken that name already. And then Mike said to me, well, what about Head Right Out? And I was like, that's genius. Because it's getting your head right in the outdoors, building better mental health, building resilience. Stepping out of your comfort zone, heading right out. It's like taking that leap of faith. Sometimes we all need to do that, just take that leap and just trust in the universe that it will provide.
Perfect. Lovely. Second one. You didn't start long distance solo walking until you were 40, as you just told us. What took you so long, and what finally pushed you out of the door?
I genuinely didn't believe I could do it. I think I had never seen me represented out there as an older woman or a midlife woman doing these adventures that you normally see gritty guys doing, or athletic types. I wasn't either of those. I don't have a big beard. So yeah, I just didn't believe I could do
One day
it.
you will.
Yeah, I might do. And I just think that it came to a point where suddenly I thought I've got to challenge myself. And I don't know, there was just that realisation when I picked up that Southwest Coast Path handbook, and I thought, that's it. And in that moment, I didn't question how I was going to do it. I just knew I had to do it. But I had just waited a very, very long time. And I wished I hadn't waited so long, and I think that's what I want to encourage other people to do now.
But you had so many other things going on. You had a full-time job.
Yes.
You know, you had a
child
to look after,
Yeah.
a home to look after. You know, that's where it's difficult
Yes.
for single mothers to do anything, or single dads to
Yeah.
get out and do stuff, because you just haven't got the time. And so, but you could still do things, little
Yeah.
things, which is what you were doing.
Yeah. I don't think I had the belief in myself though that I could have actually gone off and walked 630 miles on my own. And so that was the challenge, was that I was going to walk this path on my own. I was going to camp and actually take on camping solo. And I was going to wade a river, and that was my nemesis. That was my huge nemesis, was wading this river, sort of thigh high. Yeah, am I allowed?
Great.
Can I just say there?
Please.
It was supposed to be thigh high, but I'm a little bit shorter, and I got my knickers wet. But maybe we should have waited another half an hour, and the tide would have gone down lower. But it was an amazing experience, and it built my resilience, and it made me believe in myself. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. That leads on really nicely to the next question, which is, so when you were doing the Southwest Path that first time, what did your body tell you in those first weeks about what you were doing, and did you listen to it?
What the hell are you doing, Zoe? Why are we doing this? I go home.
You walk into it, really.
You do walk into it. I mean, I was green. I was really green. I was new at this. I didn't know what I was doing. I had bought all of the equipment that the outdoor shops had told me they thought I needed. So it made my bank balance lighter and my bag heavier. And yeah, as a result, I was carrying a lot of things I probably didn't need to be carrying. So what I did was I listened to my body. My body was aching. My shoulders in particular were aching. And I thought, well, it's not serious. I can get through this. But let's see what we can do to cull what's in the bag. And I took things out and
helped a lot.
sent things home, and that really helped. And I discovered that actually, as you walk, you're walking yourself fitter. So it's not like I even really needed to train to do this walk, because I was training for it as I went. I was walking into it, starting off with low miles and building it up to higher miles as the walk went on.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it, really. You know, if you've got, no matter how long or short the walk is, doesn't matter. Don't go into it racing. Just take your time, walk into it, and then by the time you finish at the end of the day, you'll speed it up a bit. The next day, you'll probably go a bit faster, but
Or a bit further.
And a bit further. So it's walking in
Yeah.
to a walk, and not racing the first day. Really.
Fantastic. There's a version of staying active that sort of sounds easy on paper. What does it actually feel like in those days when you don't want to go and do it?
Well, there's always going to be days like this. Whether it's a lovely sunny day or whether it isn't, your body tells you that, but I think perseverance is the thing. I think one has to listen to your body, but don't overdo it. But I think you need to move on. And if my feet ache, but I don't just sit down and cry. I just think, okay, and then I just move on gently.
You take time to rest, don't you?
Yeah,
And regular,
Yeah.
for you in particular,
For me,
regular breaks.
Particularly because of my age, I can't walk 25, 30 miles a day anymore. So we do a bit more stopping now than I would have done 25 years ago. But that's okay. We're still getting where we're getting.
That links to, one of the things you've said before, I know in your travels, you've said you talk a lot about the mean little voice that you sometimes hear, the self-doubt that tells you to stop. How does physical movement get affected by that mean little voice?
Oh, imposter syndrome. Gosh, it's a big thing, and I hadn't realised how many people experience it. People well-known people, high-flying people that you think are really successful, and they still get that little voice of doubt there. It's a big thing for me, but I find that being out on adventures somehow builds a layer of resilience that helps me kind of close the door to that voice. And what I tell people now is that resilience is almost like a tapestry, and so each skein of thread is your experience on that adventure, and it's a different colour and it's woven into the tapestry background, and it means that is much stronger. Or it's like a piece of rope. You could even liken it to a piece of rope. The more layers, the more threads you have, the stronger it becomes. Yes. But then the more experiences in life you have, the more frayed it becomes. So resilience isn't just there, and you don't just get resilience and it stays. You then have to maintain it. So every year an adventure, an adventurous experience, an outdoor experience that pushes yourself out of your comfort zone a little, just helps to build that layer of resilience.
It's meeting people as well. Yeah. You meet so many people, and most people, if you're out on a walk, will say hello, and some people will stop and have a chat, and they say what they've been doing, what they've done, what they're going to do, and everything else, and you tell them that, and that gives you that hope.
Yes.
That, you're going to be able to get on and do stuff, and gives you encouragement to do it as well.
We've had a lot of people say you've given us the motivation
so
to
much.
go and do something else now, and I love that personally. I mean, as we're walking around, I've said to so many people, this walk is more about the people that we meet and the connections we're making than it is about the geography.
Yep.
Because we could walk exactly the same walk again in 2 years' time, and it'd be totally different. Never mind the fact that we'd be older and the weather would be different. It's the people. The people make it. And if we're inspiring just one person a day, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Great. I'm going to continue on because I know this is one that you've talked about before, but has your body ever genuinely told you not today? And how do you know the difference between listening to your body wisely and just giving in to it?
Well, it's quite a tricky one, really. You've got to learn how to read your body. It's a very tricky one to do. I think it's what we call a non-transferable skill, really. You can't really read about it. You need to know your own body. And as I said earlier, we stop. I know, I need to stop. My feet are telling me to stop. And that's what I do. Or my hips. I've had 2 new hips, so my hips sometimes, not very often, sometimes say, oi, okay. So we say, right, we'll stop at the next seat.
Yeah.
And we sit down. We don't sit and have a big meal, we have a drink, may have an apple or something, fruit, for 10 minutes, up and gone. But it does tell you, and you've got to do something about it. If you don't do anything about it, it just progressively gets worse. So you've got to listen to your body.
Well, I learned that. So we started the first edition of this walk on the 4th of October, and we walked 7 days, 60 miles, and I felt a sharp little pain in the top of my foot. I hadn't done anything untoward. I wasn't on any uneven ground or anything like that. I still don't really know the reason why, other than perhaps I was pushing forward a little bit too fast to try and catch my cup. And I walked with that feeling in my foot probably for about 3 or 4 miles, just monitoring it, waiting to see if it nudged me or if it dug at me, and by the end of the 4 miles it was starting to dig.
It was telling
me, it was saying, come on, this is a sign, you should stop. So thankfully we were being hosted by a friend that night in Barton-on-Sea, and he came and collected us from Mudderford Quay as opposed to us walking another 5 miles. And he took me to the hospital the next morning, and they told me I had extensor tendonitis. Fast forward 2 weeks and 4 diagnoses later, and it turned out to be a stress fracture. So yeah, I knew something was wrong because it kept digging at me.
Yep.
It wasn't just an achy niggle like you would get when you're exercising. When you're exercising and you're doing things that you don't normally do, you get sort of aches, those like lovely dull aches that makes you feel like you've worked your body. And this wasn't a lovely dull ache. This was.
You knew it was something
yes,
different.
Yeah. So it's, as Mike said, it's learning to read the signs that your body is telling you.
Great.
And yeah.
Thank you. You've described adventure as outdoor medicine. Can you explain a bit more about what you mean by that?
You do this.
Yeah, that's. I guess it's my little catchphrase, isn't it?
It is your catchphrase, but I think you could explain it a lot better than I.
Okay, so yeah, outdoor medicine for me is that beauty of being able to take yourself from the buzz, the mind buzz of working indoors, and into the outdoors, where somehow there's a magic that happens. I find that I can solve problems when I'm walking. I come up with the most creative, or some would say crazy ideas when I'm out walking. Maybe this walk that we're doing now was hatched when we were walking. It probably was.
Probably was.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just something that happens when I'm in nature and when I'm in the outdoors that doesn't happen when I'm indoors. I think for me, there's a danger that I will sit inside four walls and work. If I'm writing, I will just write. I might stop to go to the loo, grab a cup of coffee or something, but then I'm just work. And those four walls become very, very small. It kind of closes in on you and eventually will break you. And being outside again is what rebuilds me. And it's a brain reset. It's, the frazzle that's going on in here, it's then reset. It's just a wonderful, wonderful feeling. If I don't feel like going, if my brain is saying, no, don't go outside, I'll say just 5 minutes, just go out for 5 minutes. And once I've set foot outside the door, generally I'll be out for longer than 5 minutes. And I'll go out maybe for half an hour walk instead of 5 minutes. But that's enough to then make me more productive when I come back.
Great.
When we're walking, people say to us, how can you cope with each other walking all day? Well, we don't. We're not attached to the hips. We walk separately for hours.
Yeah.
And that's when we get this creative and thinking, because I do the same.
Yeah.
But generally you can't do it when we're walking together because we're talking about stuff going on. Then Zoe take photographs and then I'm in front of her, then Zoe will overtake me. So it's that. And so while we're on our own, that's when you start being creative in your appearance.
You're rebuilding the house when you're walking up.
Rebuilding the house, man.
Fantastic. Now, you're planning to walk the entire coastline of mainland Britain. You nutters.
Thank you.
Most people of your age are being told to slow down. What's your response to that?
Well, I suppose I have slowed down anyway, because I can't do the mileage I used to be able to do. But I think at my age, I'm only 73, and I've got 2 new hips. But I've always been active anyway. But I think you've still got to get out and about and do things. You don't have to do 50 miles a day. You can do 2 miles a day. You could walk around your local park. You could walk down to the shop and back. Instead of taking your car shopping, you could, walk. There's so much you can do without sitting down. When we did a talk last year in front of 500 people, and they said to me, what are you going to be doing when you're 80? And I said, well, I should be out and about walking. And I suggest we don't have a television, but I suggest everyone here gets rid of their televisions. And that will get you out and about and make you more sort of...
Give you the chance to be more active.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give you a chance to be more active.
Very good. Ties in nicely to a very simple question. What has movement given you that nothing else gives you?
Go on then.
Yeah, I think for me it's that magic, the magic of creativity. It's like a mindfulness that happens. I've heard some people call it a meditation. As you're walking, it's like a meditation. It just allows you to be with yourself and your thoughts and nature without the hustle and bustle and the interference of what's going on at home. When I was doing long distance walks as a teacher, I was doing lesson planning in my head and figuring out what I was going to do for the coming year. But I wasn't constantly feeling like I had to go searching for resources and sitting down and writing things, which is what I would have done if I was at home. What else has it given me? It's given me this lovely gentleman, because I met Mike on the first long distance path, on the Southwest Coast path, and that was a chance meeting, and we've actually made some other very wonderful friends through long distance walks, particularly on that first walk, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've always said this, I might be going off the subject a little bit, but you walk around any town or city, nobody says anything to you. Hello, good morning. You go on the hills walking, and generally people nod, say good morning, or they have a chat with you or something. So it's that bit which gives you that incentive to go out, and and you've got to have movement to do it. You've got to get out and about. That's the key, and I think.
Well, there have been so many opportunities. There have been so many opportunities that have come out of us taking this time out to move around the country, that we would never have had if we hadn't done that. So the people we've met, the people that have taken us into their homes, the chance moments. And yet, and on the opposite side of that, I saw a woman walking towards us a few days ago as we were walking into London, and she was probably only a couple of years older than me, and she wasn't addressing me, but I heard her say it to her husband, and she took her sunglasses off and she said, "Oh my gosh, if I was carrying those rucksacks in this weather, I would just pass out." And I wanted to just kind of go up and give her a hug and say, "No, you wouldn't," because they look heavy, but they're not that heavy, and it's somehow quite liberating that everything we have in these bags is everything we need to survive. That's our life on our backs, and it's really liberating to throw everything else kind of to storage or wherever we've got it, and say that is all we need.
Great.
Yeah.
There will be people sitting at home, joints aching and thinking, looking at you two, that's definitely not for me, I'm well past doing that. What do you say to them?
Well, what we're doing is quite extreme really, especially for my age and that. But my suggestion to anybody who's actually sitting down doing that, just get up and just go for a little walk. Whether you make an excuse to go down to the shop and buy a newspaper or a loaf of bread or something, walk back again, use that as an adventure. I know what we're doing, that is totally different, but we all need adventures. And as a child, I used to go and do that. Then I progressed to doing other things. Now I'm doing this. But that's 60 years ago I was doing that. So, I think one ought to just do little adventures. An adventure walking around the park is that is an adventure. And as a thinking, you go out and you can think and clear your mind and breathe the fresh air in and listen to the birds.
Mike, thanks. Zoe, what Mike's just said there that's his smallest possible sort of head right out moment that someone could take. What would yours be? What's your smallest possible head right out moment?
For somebody else?
Yes.
I think just basically saying that everybody has their own Everest.
Yes.
So for us, it's our, 7,300 miles walking around the country. For somebody else, it is climbing Everest. But for someone else, it might just be dusting off that bicycle and going for a ride around the countryside for a couple of hours. So it's not about comparing us with them. As somebody once said to me, comparison is the thief of joy. And that's really stuck with me. And I think, don't compare, just find your Everest and go with that, and make it something small, baby steps, and then progress. And keep a journal, keep an adventure journal. Write down how you're feeling before you go off and try that thing, write down what you did, write down how you felt afterwards. And I've kept a journal through every single adventure I've done, and I'm so pleased I did, because it's helped with writing the books. But it actually helps you to see the progression, see how you've developed and how you've grown.
Great.
Yeah.
Last question.
Go
You'll
on.
be glad to hear. You've walked coastlines, you've walked mountain paths. I see you've even done the Camino from your headscarf, Mike.
Yeah.
You're standing on one of the most iconic bridges in the world. So, to the two of you, what does a walk, any walk, do for you that nothing else can?
Well,
Freedom.
yeah.
Freedom for me, and the magic of movement and creativity and thinking, planning all those wonderful things that are going to happen when we get back, as long as Mike hasn't planned more walks for us to go off and do.
When you say the iconic, this is an iconic bridge, we all know, but there are other things we pass as well. I'd love to see it. I know the industry, which is decayed now, but I'd love to see in the old shapes of the buildings what are now, you know, especially along the Thames, we
Yes.
see quite a bit of it. And to me, that's quite. And then I see the tower, where it, you know, and I think, oh, you know, this is great. And it's what I call a payback. It's payback. Walking up a mountain, the payback is when you get to the top, and you stand there and you look around, and that is your payback
Yeah.
of that walk. And that's
Fab.
And also, I think what I'd add to that as well, that it isn't just about the summit of like getting to that end point and go, look what I've done. Actually, that all that bit in between, that journey there, is what probably is going to be more important and more beneficial to you. It's that.
absolutely.
It is that stepping out of your comfort zone and facing the fears. I've faced so many fears and so many challenges over the walks that I've done. Things that I never ever dreamt that I would be able to do, and as a result of doing them, I definitely have benefited, and they've proven it now. You know, it's great for relationships. You know, for youngsters, school performance is better. It's good for us as a couple. You know, we've learnt that we probably like each other quite a bit, don't we?
Zoe, Mike, thank you very much for chatting to us today.
Thank you
That's
for
been
inviting us.
fantastic. Great.
This has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Great pleasure.